And welcome to It Figures. Tonight I am going to be reviewing Hannibal pop figure, and this is the Wendigo figure. I've just recently finished the first 2 seasons of Hannibal, and I was at the store and I saw this. I was like, oh, you know, it's just one of those things I had to get because I really enjoy the television series. If I hadn't watched the TV series, I would have had no idea what this is. And if you haven't watched the TV series, you probably have no idea what this is. And to tell you the truth, there's so many pop figures out there, I didn't even know they made Hannibal pop figures. But as pop figures go, this is the one I had to get. So let's go ahead and open up the Wendigo and see what he looks like. Most of these pop figures are sort of like a cutified version of the characters. But this one is actually pretty terrifying. If you don't know what the Wendigo is, I'm not going to spoil it for you, obviously, but it's a really creepy character that's on the show, and for the Funko to make this is really awesome. So first, let's take a look at the detail here. It's surprisingly really fantastic. Since this is pretty much an entirely black figure, it may be kind of hard to see some of the detail, but the hooves here are really nicely done. And you got the really long, creepy looking fingers on one hand. And on the other hand, you also have the same longer fingers, but they're covered in blood. Take a look at the midsection, you can see the sunken in rib cage. And this is where the sightless face really helps on this figure. Makes it even more creepier. And I really love the silver eyes. And of course, you have the antlers up here, and even those have pretty decent detail. The back of the figure is what actually surprises me, because you don't get to see the back of the character in the show, and you can see its spinal column and its shoulder blades. So I'd say if you had this on your desk at work, people who don't watch Hannibal would probably be pretty creeped out by it. And people that actually do watch Hannibal would probably still be pretty creeped out by it. As for articulation, of course, the only part that moves on the figure is the oversized head. And that's it. I wish the arms would eventually start moving on these figures. And it almost looks like they should. As you can see, it has like a seam on each shoulder, so it almost looks like it should. Alright, so let's bring up the old Figometer and see how the Wendigo stacks up. As for detail, I'm really enjoying what they did with it here. So I would definitely give it a 4 out of 5 on detail. Paint, there isn't a whole lot here because it's pretty much molded in black, but the blood on the fingers and the silver eyes really pop this figure out a lot. So paint-wise, I would give it a 2 out of 5. Articulation, well, if you've ever had a pop figure, you know the only thing that moves is the head. So articulation would get a 2 out of 5. So in all, I really enjoy this pop figure. I think it's just a great representation of the character that's in the show. The one thing I was worrying about was the small feet on the character, because a lot of these pop figures instantly fall over, but this guy seems to be standing up pretty well. So if you liked tonight's episode of It Figures, please subscribe so I can see you next time, because if you don't, the Wendigo may find you.